Welcome back to our channel. Today in this video we are going to see SSLC public examinations May 2022. I mean class 10 public quiz in science last year May 2022. In this video we are going to see the compulsory questions pertaining to 2 mark and 3 marks. In the 2 mark section, question number 22 is the compulsory one, and in the 3 mark section, question number 32 is the compulsory one. Now let us see the 22nd question. A person with myopia can see objects placed at a distance of 4 meters. If he wants to see objects at a distance of 20 meters, what should be the focal length and power of the concave lens he must wear? So, now let us see the solution. Answer: distance he can see, let us call it as x, which is equal to 4 meters. In the next step, distance he wants to see, let it be y, which is nothing but 20 meters. Now, focal length of concave lens. This formula is given in your text itself. So let us take the formula, which is nothing but f is equal to xy divided by x minus y. In the next step, let us substitute the values. So f is equal to 4 into 20 divided by 4 minus 20. In the next step, so when we multiply 4 and 20, we get 80. Here, minus 20 plus 4. The signs are different, so subtraction. So this is the larger number 20. So let us subtract this 4 from 20. We'll get 16. But we need to put the sign of the larger one. So minus 16. Now let us cancel them out with the 8th table. So 10 8s are 80. Here 2 8s are 16. Again 1 2s are 2, 5 2s are 10. So we get 5 by 1, which is nothing but 5 itself. So f is equal to, here in the denominator minus is there. So we'll get minus 5 meter. This is the focal length. Now, from the focal length, we can calculate power by using this formula, which is nothing but P is equal to 1 by F. F is the focal length of the concave lens. So P is equal to 1 by, let us substitute the focal length of the concave lens, which is nothing but minus 5. So 1 divided by minus 5. So here we are given the division also. So here 1 is there, here 5 is there. In 1, how many times 5? 0 times. So let us put 0 over here. Then after placing the decimal, let us include this 0. Now it has become 10. So in 10, how many 5s are there? 2 5s. So let us put the 2 over here. 2 into 5, 10. 10 minus 10, 0. So the quotient is nothing but 0.2. So the power is minus 0.2 capital D. This capital D stands for diopter, which is nothing but the unit for power in SI unit. Now let us see the question number 32, which is the 3 mark question, and again it's a compulsory one. The question goes like this. A is a blue colored crystalline salt. On heating, it loses blue color and gives B. When water is added, B gives back A. Identify A and B. Write the equation. Now let me explain the question. There is a crystalline salt which is blue in color. They have named it as capital A. While heating, it loses its blue color and it gives another compound named B. When water is added, this compound B, again it becomes compound A. In other words, salt A. Now we are supposed to identify this A and B. Now here comes the clue, blue colored crystalline salt, which is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate, which is a hydrated salt which has got 5 molecules of water of crystallization. On heating, what happens? It loses the 5 water of crystallization. I mean 5 molecules of water of crystallization. This water of crystallization only gives its blue color and its crystalline form. So when it loses that water, what happens? It becomes white in color, and also it is called as anhydrous copper sulfate, which means copper sulfate without water. So easily we can determine that this A is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate. Penta means 5. So it has got 5 water molecules of water of crystallization. And while heating it loses water and it becomes B. This B is nothing but anhydrous copper sulfate. Now let us move on to the answer. So here it is given answer A. A is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate and B is nothing but anhydrous copper sulfate. Below we have given the equation also. Now what is the chemical equation for copper sulfate pentahydrate? Cu stands for copper and SO4 is nothing but this sulfate ion. So this is copper sulfate, and this 5H2O is nothing but 5 molecules of water of crystallization. While heating, what happens? This water gets separated, so we can write it as CuSO4 plus 5H2O. This CuSO4 is nothing but anhydrous copper sulfate, which means copper sulfate without this water of crystallization. So it is written clearly below. The name of this compound is copper sulfate pentahydrate, and the name of this compound is anhydrous copper sulfate. In other words, copper sulfate without water, because these 5 molecules of water gets separated. Now what happens? On cooling this anhydrous copper sulfate, it becomes this copper sulfate pentahydrate. So this is the equation form. In the next slide, with the diagram in the book, let us learn this concept clearly, but while answering this question, you can answer in this way. A is copper sulfate pentahydrate, B is anhydrous copper sulfate, and below that you can neatly write down this equation. That's all. This is more than enough. In the next slide, with the help of the diagram, let us explain this chemical reaction. Here comes the diagram. In the first diagram, there is a test tube which contains a blue colored crystalline salt. In the second diagram, it's getting heated up by means of a Bunsen burner. Now what happens? The color changes. At the same time, the crystalline form gets changed into a powdery form. So blue color, here it becomes colorless. So this blue colored salt is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate. It has got 5 molecules of water of crystallization, which gives the blue color and also its crystalline form. So when it loses that water of crystallization, it becomes colorless, which is nothing but anhydrous copper sulfate, which is copper sulfate without water. We have got the equation also over these diagrams. CuSO4.5H2O, which is nothing but copper sulfate pentahydrate. While heating, it loses that water of crystallization and it becomes CuSO4, which is nothing but anhydrous copper sulfate plus 5H2O. Again, while cooling, which means while adding water to it, it again gets changed into copper sulfate pentahydrate. This equation is nothing but a reversible reaction. So with this video has come to an end.
Like, share and comment and subscribe our channel and click the bell button for more videos. Thank you.